Alright, y'all. This is a video that I really didn't want to make, and don't, at this exact moment. But that may be the reason why I'm here. So, tonight we cover overcoming the ego. Okay? So, the ego is inextricable from your humanity. A lot of people are under the illusion that their doubting nature, and that their fear, and that their guilt, and that their shame, and that their false pride were fostered by their parents and society alone, that they were nurtured, when in fact this is a quality of the human ego that is inextricable from the human. Okay? How distasteful that a God such as myself should incarnate in such a lowly realm. And for what purpose? This is the only question. And for what purpose? Why should we be here? Why are we here in a realm where we are demeaned by our very existence, fallen from our original state? Okay, so this is the emphasis, this is the driving force, this is the genesis of occultism, the genesis of the initiate becoming the master. This is the genesis of it all, because he feels himself higher than this lowly state unto which he has fallen. And he's desperate to release himself from this game. In order to do that, he needs to understand why he's being played and how he can play against that which is playing him. Okay? So what we need to do in order to reestablish our godhood and to reestablish control over this game is we need to identify the ego first, okay? Because the ego is the creation's creation. It is what he was as a false, non-perfect creator, as a demiurge. He took from his being the ego that he had established as a misfit, non-full god piece of shit that's a vampire, and he took that and expressed it upon all of nature's creations and upon the human beings. The human beings, however, from his mother, who realized that she had fucked up the job and that her half-breed son was now creating a race which he would rule over, came down and gave the divine spark. This is also known as Lucifer, and Prometheus, this mother that came to help the humans, to give them their divine spark, right? The divine spark is their soul, which allows spirit to enter the picture on the human side. Okay? Now this becomes a problem for the demiurge, Zeus, Jesus, the creator of this world. Okay? The lowly demiurge. This becomes a problem for him because now the humans are going to become greater than him, right? So he teams up with some archons, some ancient dark angels that come to meet him. And they are great at manipulating and creating food chains and cycles of energy to feed off of, such as wars, such as work, where people go to jobs and give their energy to the archons to feed on. So everybody becomes a food source for these archons and for the demiurge, to the degree that they do not stop their ego, because their ego is what puts them into an energetic state. When the lion hunts the gazelle comes into a heightened energetic state as the lion is about to kill it, right? And the lion comes into a heightened energetic state of excitement and of adrenaline as well. There we have two emanations that both can be fed on. Okay? When you have a war, both sides are creating energy that can be parasited on. When I get extremely angry and throw stuff around, or when I get extremely sad and cry, or when I get all of these different human emotions that are tied into the ego, I become the steak on the plate for the archons and for the demiurge. Okay? You can see maybe why I was hesitant to make this video, but really, what should happen is that the people who can't hang with this information should just move on to the next YouTube video. Because once you realize, this is the thing, once you realize the truth, you have a tough time forgetting it. And if you don't forget it, you're liable. Okay? So, now, how do we identify the ego? One way that I've pinpointed to identify the ego is to, first of all, you're going to have to do past emotional healing. It's mostly an emotional thing, the ego. That's how you identify it. But this is the best way to identify it. In the moment, we identify the ego by calling it by your given first name. Okay? Because what we're doing is we're extracting the ego, which is the humanity of you, from your innate godness. Okay? So in order to do that, we're going to attach your first name, which is also part of your humanity, to the ego. And then you're going to remember your spirit name, or give one to yourself for a higher self or spirit name over here. Okay? So you're going to start to call yourself, for me, it's Ben. Ben is hungry. Ben wishes he had more money. Ben wants to go for a ride in the car. Ben wants to lay down. Ben thinks that this video is not going that well. Ben wants to end this video. Ben, etc., etc., etc. These are all emanations of the ego. What I do to each one of those now is weigh them up with your true self. And you'll say, well, how do I know my true self, my higher self, my spirit, my divine ego with a capital E, my godhood, my true nature before I was stuck into the demiurge's system? You know your true nature because it offers truth, solutions, and real essence of your being. Some people have lost it. They don't have any chance of connecting to this anymore. Okay? They've thrown it off. Or they're too young in their incarnation cycles. They don't even want to know that they're a god. They're purposely as lost and as humane and as animal as possible. Okay? So don't worry about that. To those of you watching the video, you've heard your higher self before. You can call it your conscience. There's many other ways to go about it, right? Or you can say your spiritual team. So, what we need to do is decide when the ego is actually in harmony with the higher self. Okay? And in order to do that, we have to have an idea of what we're doing here, right? What does the higher self actually do? What does it accomplish? What is my God nature? What do I accept and not accept, right? And so for me, I've come to a place where I don't accept jack shit from the ego, okay? If it says do this, do that, do this, do that, each time I thwart it, okay? Just about. Each time I stop it from supplying me with those ideas. And basically the only time that you want to add it in is if it's something that harmonizes with the higher self. So let's think of an example. When would the higher self and the ego align? If the ego says, I'm hungry, and we have food that pleases the higher self as well here in the house, and the higher self is not occupied doing something else, like it needs to make sure to not get up because it's finishing a piece of art, or the higher self is finishing contemplating an idea, or etc. If the higher self is ready to get up and go prepare the food that we have, then that's a harmony. The ego is hungry, the higher self agrees, let's go make the food we have. Right? So this is an example of the harmony of the two. And what the goal is in the end of all of this is this. And I touched on this in my Becoming Darkness video. Because what I said in that video is that it's a great idea to become excited or ready to die. And this ties in exactly to this ego cutting off, okay? Because it goes like this. The ego is your humanity, and it is tied to the demiurge. The archons and the demiurge can only inspire or intrigue you or give you little psychological nudges with the ego to get you to become food for them. They can't. You, as a Titan God, as the being that you are more powerful than them. That's the great trick. That's the great secret, right? So they, at all costs, make sure that you don't wake up and remember who you are. So, the reason why it's important that you become willing to die, if you want to go on this mission of being the master of your ego, of embodying your true God nature. The reason why it's important that you're willing to die is because your ego wants to exist. It is the control mechanism of this realm. It is what makes you a human. So if you deny it at all costs, even to the point where you say, ego, so much am I not going to listen to you that I'm willing to die right now. I'm willing to forego eating until I die. I'm willing to shoot myself in the head. Okay? At that point, the ego will begin to work for you, because the only way that it can keep you on this realm is to provide you with what you want. Okay? So if you say, ego, I'm a king. Okay? I'm a god. I'm wealthy right now. There's no talk of poverty. There's no talk of, I need this. There's no talk of, when's the money gonna come? For me, I'm wealthy right now and I'm a god. Okay? To the ego. If the ego wants to keep jumping in, it's going to be continuously cut off by that, right? Then I'm literally going to tell the ego, you don't understand. Bring me the money or I quit. You die. Okay? Bring me the assets. Bring me the situation that I came here for as a god, or I'm gone. Because my spirit and soul can go home at any point. I don't need to be here on earth continuing with the plan. I can jump in and end what I started at any time. Okay? Once the ego starts to understand that, it starts to understand, oh shit. Just like the demiurge and the archons who can suck my dick, both of you groups, you can suck my dick. Fernando Prudhomme, if you want to work with the archons, go ahead, okay? Okay, we won't go into that. If you want to work with the archons, go ahead, okay? But it's not going to be a fun life. It's not going to be a fun life for you. And I'm going to destroy them. Okay? You heard it here first. The archons, the demiurge, will be destroyed by your boy Ranulf, and if not me, by one of his disciples. So, that's what we're here for. And so if anyone doesn't like this video and doesn't want to overcome their ego and join Team God instead of Team Human, that's fine. You can go find another video. You can do something else with your life. For me, I'm going to end this video now, and I'm going to continue to program my subconscious. I'm going to continue to watch enlightening material. I'm going to continue to read. I'm going to continue to create symbols. And I'm going to continue to follow my spiritual path to the furthest extent, to remember my godhood in every moment, and to not allow the ego to control me at all. More and more, I'm recognizing who I am. More and more, I'm remembering, putting back together the pieces of the puzzle that led me here. All right, family. I hope y'all have a great night and a great day wherever this video finds you. Bye-bye.